And now, Buffalo's #1 news team.
Good evening and welcome to Eyewitness News at 6. I'm Susan Ortega.
And I'm Evan Baxter, and here's what's making news. A potential scandal with the Buffalo PD surfaced today when the mayor demanded that the chief as a response to allegations. Sorry, I seem to have something stuck in my eye.
Somebody get him some water, please.
It looks like my new co-anchor may need a glass of water.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. In other news.
Hey guys, we're back for the road to the coronavirus. Back for road to coronavirus.
I can't go out. I'm sick.
Boo, you whore.
If everybody who either isn't in Australia or is watching this in the future, the coronavirus has got a lot worse in Australia this week, which has meant a few plans have changed.
Yeah, I don't think it's just Australia in general. I think,
well, the world, yeah.
Yeah, I think the seriousness of the entire situation has hit Australians, I would call it. Where we are quite lucky, I said this on one of our YouTube videos, we're quite lucky to be in Australia because we have been proactive so far, so our numbers are quite small compared to the other countries, but we're sort of at that tipping point where they were, and then it got a bit out of hand. So the government has pretty much retracted everything.
All happened pretty quick. So last time we did an episode, all was looking fine. We were heading into the final weeks, looking to taper in that final week, and hit the competition. But in the peak week, literally, was it Wednesday? So a few days out.
I think the talks started Wednesday, Thursday. People started to say potentially what was going to happen, and then it just sort of dominoed, bam, bam, bam.
The big one for me, the kind of big first one to fall was the Formula One, which is a ridiculously huge.
They pulled that out the morning of.
Yeah, massive. As soon as that went, everybody went, everything else is in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Arnold's Expo followed after, which the managers of ProRaw moved it to outside of Melbourne to a gym, much smaller gym, and tried to limit numbers and did everything they could. So nothing against them, not their fault at all. And then before finally deciding to call it off.
I don't even think it was a day.
The day after.
The day after.
The day after there, they decided, no, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it at all. We're in a similar position. We've got a small meet next weekend that more than likely will get cancelled. They won't make the call until this weekend though, but it's just everything. It's just there's a greater thing that we need to understand currently.
Yeah, nobody's fault. Can't blame anyone.
It's unfortunate because things were going great, but oh well. Yeah, next time.
People in the West sport, powerlifting is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And there are meets to do. So yeah, unfortunately, obviously, comp not going ahead, as we said, and it is now a few days from when it's meant to be, and
I guess we sort of decided that it's probably not even worth it with the amount of stress that you've experienced in the past week.
Initially was going to do a mock meet on the same day with a bunch of people and just kind of make it a little fun thing, but the stress of having to, especially with having a lot of athletes, having to everybody moved to Frankston, then backup plan, and stress and move everybody. Oh crap! I know everybody cancelled that week. You're not doing it anymore, and then trying to. It's just been a mess in general, and I'm just feeling a bit flat, fatigued. Also, it's a little bit deflating just not having a goal there. Like I don't think even if everything was perfect, just not maxing out in a gym is the same.
It's not. No, it's never going to be the same. And at the end of the day, it is a risk going to that level, and it's always a risk that needs to be sort of calculated, and with the current situation it's just not worth going in there to try and total 1,000 at a mock meet that's not worth anything in the future. So we might as well just take the training prep for what it was, which was a success, hit multiple training PRs across definitely squatting and deadlifting.
It's pretty damn confident for the 1,000 total. So leading into the next prep, even though this hasn't ended the way it was, I'm pretty confident to move forward and do that next time. Hopefully a bit more. Hopefully, get that squat and deadlift up over the 400 mark, which would be sick. But for now, it'll just be into an off season as planned, and then look at something later in the year, maybe 6 months time, something like that.
Yeah.
Either Warriors or something similar. So, as far as positives for the prep though, hit those awesome numbers in prep. Things are all moving in the right direction. Body comp is up at a DEXA scan. Yesterday, 4 kilos of lean mass on this pretty much exact time.
Yeah, you do it every time.
Last year, trying to make the conditions exactly the same so they're as accurate as possible. So I was, I think, 10 kilos-ish body weight up and 4 kilos of that being lean body mass. So fantastic, can't ask for much more than that.
Big win there for sure. The pec flies and leg extensions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I haven't compared the thighs for the year. That takes a bit more analysis, but I'll get there. I'll get the results.
Yeah.
But I'm just feeling out my pants, and I'm confident.
Confident in the quads. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So then I guess the question would be, what is the structuring that we're going to be doing moving forward? We'll obviously take this week for what it is. We'll probably even take next week for what it is, and then start, I would say.
To establish that, we'll look at goals. So my goal in this comp was to hit. My goal coming into this was to hit. I want to hit 1,000 at any weight. I don't care if I'm 120, 130, 140. I want to hit 1,000.
Yeah.
So that was the initial goal. Looking to do it at this comp, and then potentially after it, looking to do a 24-hour weigh-in meet back at 110, and hopefully get 1,000 at 110. Warriors is a 2-hour weigh-in at 115, so that's kind of similar territory. I could look at doing it at that, but I guess I've got to make the call of...
Because there's an overseas meet potentially as well that we need to weigh up for. So.
Yeah, so it's do I want... Now the question comes, do I want to fill out the 125s and push more there, or do I want to set my goals back at the 110? Something I really haven't kind of come to a final decision on.
But the goal is still 1,000 kilos.
Yeah, but it'll just slightly change how we structure things, as in, like, do we need to push, because we pushed hypertrophy pretty aggressively, even pretty late in the prep this time. If I'm going back to 110,
well, what did you weigh? 108 kilos was lean mass.
106.
106.
So it doesn't give much room to weigh in at 110. I can't rock up at 3% body fat, so there has to be a weight cut there of some sort.
Yeah.
Which doesn't leave much room to
That's
put on another 2, 3, 4 kilos of lean mass. Or literally rocking up lean mass at 110. So it'll change whether we are how we structure it in a way, but it'll still be, I'm assuming, going back to just variety, moving through different ranges.
Yeah, definitely. I think from my perspective anyway, it seemed to be that the body was in pretty good nick throughout the whole thing until maybe the last week that shoulder started.
It's just my elbows from low bar, but
I think as a whole, comparing where we were in America,
big time.
But there was obviously the factors of walking and just general travel stress. But then also, I remember your prep from ProRaw last year. That was a lot worse. Yeah. So I think a lot of the strategies that we did implement, making sure that we mitigate some of the provocative barbell positions early in the early days, really prioritising that non-specific volume work, being pec flies and leg extensions. I think they were beneficial as a whole. But as we discussed, I think there could still be some better things that we can do moving into the peak phases of the next prep as well. So I think as a whole, it was positive prep with a bit of a bittersweet end. Well, not really sweet at all, but a bitter end. But we have to look at the positives, and this is what I would implore any lifters that have gone through this same process, who would obviously put a high priority on ProRaw for good reason. It was my first time going to be coaching there, so I was looking forward to it, but because I'm still not a PA member, but maybe I'll go back to the dark side. Who knows? So take that for what it is. Like, surely there are positives in all of these peaks that people went through and all these phases. Draw on those positives and put it into a plan for next time and get better outcomes next time.
Definitely.
There'll be plenty more times to lift weights. They're probably the health of the globe. Has to take priority right now, unfortunately.
I'm just going to kind of screw about, have some fun for this week. Obviously, I'm still here in Melbourne, strength culture. I'll be catching up with the few lifters that have made the trip down here over the next few days, just to either help them max out in the gym or have some fun, or just whatever. It's a great networking opportunity, ProRaw as well. It's probably the 50%. I miss that just as much about ProRaw, as just not being able to see everyone, talk to everyone. So doing that, and then next week we'll talk about exactly what we're going to do. Maybe we can do one of these and discuss it.
Potentially, I think that would probably be a good idea. Even if it's in like a month, once we've planned it all out properly and started implementing it, maybe a bit more aligned with the goal that we want to have as the main focus. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, not much more to say, unfortunately. There's not much more updates.
Yeah.
It's just some kind of crash, but hopefully there's some positives to take out of that. Hopefully some other people can get some benefits and value out of that.
And thank you for everybody that was following along. I definitely had, even like Dan, Dan, our physio down here, has been helping a lot of the Alex Deacon's lifters, because he's been seeing Dan and had some really good results. So they've been coming in like, oh, I've been watching the thing. I'm like, oh, crazy. So for everybody that has been following, thank you for following and being interactive with. I've definitely felt it on my Instagram. People reaching out and be like, hey, good episode. That was interesting. Yeah. 10K, mate. That's swipe up.
Watch out for my ads as well. Coming to YouTube, social media, the G-Shock ads.
Let's finish on that. What happened there? What happened Thursday?
I got hit up by it was an agency, but for G-Shock.
Like a PR company.
Yeah.
People come up to me all the time and say, you should be a model, or you look just like a model, or maybe you should try to be a man who models.
Yeah, for G-Shock watches to basically do their new ad campaigns for their new fitness watch that's coming out. Sound like I'm selling them, but I really have nothing to do with them and I don't get any benefit. But had a great day. They flew in out of Sydney, had a great day filming with two other proper pros, so I felt a little bit out of place, very uncomfortable for me at first, but luckily it was a role that, you know, what Hathor or what Arnie would play in the Terminator, as in like very no emotion, very terrible acting.
They got you for your rig, let's be honest.
Yeah, they got for the face in particular.
There it is. Magnum. Holy moly.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
So damn, this guy's face.
This is the man.
The roundness is the
This is the next big Aussie thing.
Yeah, so you never know from here, probably.
When will we see them? And can everybody please start Googling G-Shock watches so you get the sponsored ads from the company?
Don't do that. But I don't know, they haven't given me the final edits. They probably had to edit out a lot of my parts, so...
I can't wait. Did you actually split the suit, or was that they had to cut it?
They had to cut it.
They had to cut the suit.
All tricks of the industry.
Yeah, that's it. Alright.
It's actually really hard to split a shirt. They make them quite well.
So thank you to G-Shock for sponsoring Road to ProRaw /
thanks for
COVID.
But sponsored now.
Official. I think we're done.
That's it.
You'll see us at some point, no doubt. Thank you very much for following.
We'll be back.
Bye.